Have you ever had questions in regards to long-term water storage and water storage solutions, or water filtration devices, as well as water treatments? Well, we're going to go over a lot of that in this video. And folks, this is Gray here, and again, like I said, the topic for today is water, long-term storage, and water filtration devices, water treatments, like the little tablets and stuff that you put in there, and things to help you progress in regards to your emergency preparedness when it comes to water. Sometimes out there, a lot of folks will forget about water and how essential it is. Water is probably one of the most essential things when it comes to survival situations. I wanted to do this video in regards to the information that I've learned over the last couple of decades in regards to water storage and water filtration devices. So for long-term water storage, it can kind of vary greatly in regards to what you're storing your water in and the amount of room that you have in your home. So you can go really, really big and you can have something like an IBC tote to a 55-gallon barrel or several of them. You can go somewhere in the mid-range with like your 5-gallon containers, as well as I think they're called water bricks. And there's other variations of that out there to store water for long term. Long-term water storage sounds simple enough, but there's a lot of steps that some people may make mistakes on in regards to storing their water, being that the place that they store their water. Having faith that the water they stored is going to be chemical free. Long-term water storage kind of seems very simplistic in nature in regards to filling something up and putting the water up for emergencies. Depending on the environment that you have, where you're storing that water at, it can create some issues down the road. I kind of want to go over from the smaller side of things to the larger side of things in regards to water filtration itself, from your small compact filters, your portable solutions, and then we'll go into water storage and some solutions that you can use for that to make sure that the water is safe for you and your family to drink, as well as some other options in regards to just purifying water in general, and give you an idea of some of the things that you can use in your preps in regards to water storage and water filtration. All right, folks, so there's a lot of different things that you see here laid on the table. There's even things to the side that you can't even see. And I kind of just want to go over a lot of different options that you have when it comes to either water purification, something that's portable, water treatment systems, as well as water kits and water filter systems, depending on what you're going to be doing in regards to either long-term storage or something that you want to have some sort of purification device in your vehicle, your bag, at work, wherever it may be. There's a lot of different options for you out there. All right, so what I wanted to do is kind of clear off the table a bit and kind of focus in on each thing kind of individually. And what you see here now are portable water filtration systems. You're probably familiar with some of the names like the Sawyer, the Grail, the Shill as I call it, the Life Straw, another variation of the Life Straw. But these are some options that you can use in regards to portable water filtration, things that you can keep on your persons, in your vehicle, and like I said, other places that you may want to add some of these things in there in case you're caught without and an emergency happens to present itself. All right, so that being said, I do want to focus on one thing. So if you're going to be using something of this nature, right, in regards to portable water filtration, something that you may want to think about is something like this. Maybe you carry a handkerchief or a bandana or whatever term that you want to use for it. And the reason I look at this, or let's say you carry a shemagh, right? One of the two. They have various different purposes in regards to the emergency preparedness community. But when it comes to water itself, before you use these things, and you're scooping up water somewhere, right? Water can be full of lots of different particles and debris and whatnot. And if you have the option to do so, you can use one of these options to kind of filter out the debris before you stick it in your device. And the reason I say that in general is because there's a certain situation that can arise that you clog these filters up. Now, I know the Life Straw itself, you're kind of just sticking into a vessel of water, and so on and so forth. But let's say like the Sawyer Squeeze, which is a bag system that you fill up, or the Grail that you fill up, or the Shill that you fill up. And I'm probably pronouncing that wrong. I'm pretty sure someone will correct me down in the comment section. You kind of want to get some of those particulates out of the way so that you don't clog these up, because some of these things can be very expensive. I mean, you can probably find a Life Straw anywhere from, let's say $10 on sale, to maybe 20 bucks per life straw. The Sawyers can range anywhere from, depending on which one you get and which system you get in the Sawyers, they can range anywhere from 25 to 35, 40 bucks. Something like this can range anywhere from 20 to 40 bucks as well. And of course, if you go to the big boy, something like this can run you anywhere from on sale from 80 to 100 to even more than that. So you want to be able to protect your investments in regards to what you're trying to filter your water with, because your life depends on it. So having something like this in one of your bags, your vehicle, or wherever that you're going to be, having some of these things at, they're affordable enough to keep around to take out that debris. Maybe some folks like this because it's very easy to fold up and keep it, somewhere just tucked away, versus a Shimog, which is a lot bigger. I prefer a Shimog in regards to its size and the other multiple uses that I use this for. Maybe I'll do a video on that, on multiple uses for a Shimog. But bandanas have a lot of different purposes as well too. And like I said, I can squish this down and kind of poke it into something and make it very simple to put somewhere to conserve space. Now, for you folks that are going to ask, because I know some folks ask there, hey Grey, I really was interested in something like this or something like this, where do I get it at? And I'll put links down in the description. A lot of things you can pick up on Amazon, some things you can't. Some of the things I show you, you have to go directly to the websites, and I'll have those linked down below for the folks that are either interested and want to do follow-up research outside of the information that I'm providing for you today, but at least it'll give you an option to click on something and find some of these products and kind of look at the reviews and whatnot, because certain things are very important in regards to water filtration. Let's say something like this. I wonder if I can get this up close and give you an idea of some of the things that it says: bacteria, parasites, microplastics, and whatnot. But what I want to bring your attention to is right here, pore size, 0.2 microns. So that captures a lot of different things, but there's certain viruses and things like that that it will not capture. So make sure that you know the water source that you're using and what you're trying to use this filter for, especially in some very questionable water situations. Because sometimes you'll need a filter that goes down to 0.0002, I think it is. If I got a zero wrong, my apologies. But again, that's why I always tell folks, just follow up with some further research on this topic. I wanted to bring this closer to the camera. I don't know if you can see that there. The Sawyer is a 0.1 micron. So like I said, you'll pay for more advanced filtration depending on the system that you're getting and you're using. So please follow up if you decide to purchase something like this. But a lot of these things work in most instances. Last part about the portable solutions I want to talk about is if you have any questions, or if you are looking for a specific review on a certain product, just please let me know and point it out down in the comment section. Like, hey, I'd like to see you, explore this option or explore this option and yada, yada, yada. I've done them in the past, but sometimes people just need a refresher or something that's going to hit the algorithm and kind of push it forward a little bit to get this information out. All right, so this is something new that I've discovered over the last couple of years that I've never talked about on the channel. And if you're a person in the RV life or world of things, you're probably very familiar with this. This is a filter that connects to a water hose or with the right connections like other things for RVs, but I'm going to focus on the water hose. Because let's say that there's an issue coming, you see a hurricane, something that's going to happen where you want to stock up on water and you want to use the hose to fill something up large, and then you're thinking about, oh, I got to treat this water, I got to boil this water, so I got to use all this energy. Well, here's an option for you folks. If you can actually connect this directly to your hose, as with this connector here in this filter, and it kind of gives you the directions on here and shows you the breakdown of the way the filter works. I leave this one in the box because I have one that I use on a consistent basis for stuff like when I want to, purify the water that's coming out of the hose. If it's questionable, if I test it, and I'm going to be putting it into my garden, I will use something like this just to kind of give me an extra layer of satisfaction in regards to, okay, I've done what I could in regards to filtering the water out of the hose, because a lot of us use the hose or rain or whatever it may come to water our gardens. But if you're using a hose, I've had people say, hey, Grey, you're using the hose to water the garden, but I have this as an inline filter where my spigot is to go from my hose all the way up to where I'm spraying from. Now, I wanted to bring this up close to the camera so that you can kind of see what this thing kind of filters out. You got from sediment to odor to mold, mercury, lead, iron, hydrogen sulfide, heavy metals, fungus, chlorine, cadmium, bad taste, bacteria, and aluminum. Just to name some of the things on here, kind of give you some of the multiple uses on there, be it for pets, gardening, washing, camping, RV, and boating and whatnot. This is a very, 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 very cool system, folks. And why not have a couple of these on hand in case you want to utilize that option? All right, folks, so now let's kind of talk about water treatment options. And there's a lot of different companies out there that offer varied treatment options, and they have different purposes, but they all kind of do roughly the same thing in regards to what you're trying to do. So let's talk about the immediate stuff, right? So stuff like that you would use and you're probably familiar with is something like these little things here. Let me see if I can get this close to the camera. Basically, one is to kind of purify the water, one to kind of makes it taste a little bit better. But you've probably seen these floating around, and you can kind of pick them up very cheaply at most not convenience stores, but like places like Walmart and Target and places like that, as well as, you know, some of the outdoor stores and as well as online. They're very easy to use. The directions are on the back and they're easy to follow. Like I said, they're priced at pretty decent prices. These are basically similar, the aqua tabs and whatnot. They work really great. I suggest a lot of folks, I probably should do a video on these because they do a really cool thing. They're used overseas in regards to kind of having the sediment go down to the bottom and kind of separate the sediment from the clean water and whatnot. And it kind of tells you a little bit about that on there, but I just kind of want to expose you to some of these options in regards to, you know, ways that you can use for water treatment outside of your filters that you would be using to filter water. And it's very nifty that a lot of these things will come in little packs and whatnot. This was the MicroPure MP1. They're purifier tablets. Kind of gives you some information in there. But as you can see, someone camping, someone basically, if you have a Nalgene or a stainless steel or some sort of container that you're putting water in, you can put these tablets in there. Now, mind you, that when you do that, like I said, you should still use something to kind of get rid of that sediment if possible, and also pay attention to what and how long it takes in regards to this actual tablet to purify the water. If you're like dying, not dying of dehydration, but if you're on that borderline and you want something quick, maybe the filter might be the better option if you have it on hand. But a lot of these things are very compact that you can kind of keep, again, in your bags or in your vehicles or whatnot, or you can keep the larger versions because this is, I think, I don't know how many tablets this one is here. I'm trying to see if I can locate it quickly enough. This is 100 tablets in this bottle. So that's a lot. But if you, like I said, you want to just keep a couple of these, let's say, in your purse, in your little, let's say, EDC kit or whatnot, these are some options for you. This I'm going to get in here to a second. I had a lot of people ask me about the Cana Provisions personal water Decon kits, and I've reiterated a couple of times that I really, really, really love this company. They offer a lot of personal water decontamination kits outside of just this itself. And these things, I bought a lot of them because they can kind of fit in a bag very nicely in the glove compartment and whatnot. But if you look on there, it has 10 purification tablets, anti-diarrheal tablets, compressed towelettes, rubber bands, safety pins, triple antibiotic ointment, waterproof bandages, and alcohol wipes. But it has a lot of different things in this little pack that I think is nice that you can just tear open and get what you need out of it, specifically in regards to water purification. It's nice because if you happen to get sick and you need some anti-diarrheal tablets for drinking not, as you know, contaminated water and have gotten, let's say, Garardi, however you want to say that word. I'm not going to stop and try to correct myself. I'm pretty sure someone else will. But it has those anti-diarrheal tablets to help you deal with a situation like this. So that's kind of why I like Cana Provisions. It's a great American-owned company and very cool folks that run it. Now, so this here is something that I use for long-term water storage. So this is going to go back to those IBC totes. This is going to go back to, let's say, the water bricks, 55-gallon drums. Let's say you buy the one, I think Augustin Farms has one, but you can find them in other places as well. Or like the 5-gallon things that I have. And I'll show you what the bottles look like, because I have a bunch of these that I keep on tap. But remember, everything may have an expiration date in regards to best use by date, because some of this stuff will be less effective if you don't keep it cycling it. So, you know, depending on how much you want to keep of this, it's totally up to you and how much water you're storing. But this is a water treatment thing, and I use this specifically in all my long-term water storage containers and whatnot, just because I want to play it safe. Because remember, if you don't play it safe and you think that the water that you have stored, something may have happened. But as you can see here, it says kills odor causing bacteria and enhances the taste of stored potable water. Kind of gives you an idea of the ingredients. The main ingredients, chlorine dioxide. Remember, if you use stuff like this, make sure that you follow the directions in regards to how to use this properly, depending on how much water you have. Let's say a water brick is 3.5 gallons, a water container that's 5 gallons, an IBC tote that's like 400 and some gallons. You need to make sure that you use the appropriate amount for that water storage thing. Let's go over to where I have some water stored at and kind of talk about this real quick. All right, so we're in my pantry room / prepping room, whatever you like to call it. And as you can see here, there is a bunch of 5-gallon bottles of water here that I use for storage. We have a lot of hurricanes in Florida, a lot of different issues, boil water alerts, yada, yada, yada. You kind of get where I'm going with that. So having a substantial amount of water stored is going to be beneficial for me and the family. Now, one thing, like I said, when it comes to this stuff like that, is treating this water depending on how long you're going to keep it for. If you have something in rotation, on a consistent rotation, let's say you have the machine that these water bottles sit on, their water cooler, then it might be less effective for you to use these things here that I'm going to show you that were in the box, kind of like right there. So there's the part A and the part B. This is kind of what the bottles look like. Again, they do give you instructions on that. And they will also, if you treat the water, it'll let you put this little sticker on there that comes in the box as well, and kind of let you know what it's treated on and use by date, so that you have an idea that you don't have to worry that when you look over here, you're like, oh, how long has this been sitting here? How long did I treat it? Yada, yada, yada.
Is yada yada bad? Oh, yada yada's good.
Anyways, folks, as you can see here, like I said, you can put the sticker on here and place it on that there. Let's say if you're treating this all at one time, or place one on each container, depending on how you're using that. Now, these bottles here, I want to grab this over here. These bottles here do come with droppers that I kind of keep in this bag just to make sure nothing gets in the droppers, wash them and clean them, and then I cap these up. And I kind of keep this over here by where I keep the water at. Now, that being said, last time I did a video, I showed a version of this thing here, and it was a single stack. Well, during Prime Day, they had a sale on this stuff like that, so I picked up the double rack, and then I moved the single stack out into the kitchen area, kind of in that dining room area, and added another 5 bottles. So I have a total of 75 gallons. For a family of 3, that's going to last quite some time, because the average, what you should have per person is 1 gallon per day. So if you take 75 divided by 3 people, and 75, divide that by 3, you kind of get an idea of how much water and how long this is going to last you, be it 30 days, be it a couple of weeks, whatever it is, depending on how much water that you have on hand. But I did want to add, for the folks that had asked me, I had to go and dig for this a couple of times. If you're interested in this shelf, I will put a link down with all the other links that I'll be putting in this video down in the description down below. I'm going to be honest with you in regards to one point of this nice little... It works really, really well. It does the job that I want it for. And as you noticed, here, let me pause for a second. I wanted to come to this angle here. As you can see, the water bottles are facing in an upwards direction. So let's say that this here, it starts to leak. Well, it still can leak, but it has a less of a possibility of leaking the way it's sitting because it's professionally sealed. Now, if you use other methods, there's ways to use to recap these, then do so, but you need to make sure that you're aware that sometimes you can see leaking, and if you do, you need to catch that on a consistent basis. So that's why you check your preps on a consistent basis a lot, because last thing you want to do is have 5 gallons of water on your floor, which creates an issue. But anyways, back to what I was saying in regards to the shelving itself. If you do purchase something like this, it took me and my wife about 45 minutes to put together. So just be aware that it comes in pieces and you got to put it together yourself. If you're inclined to follow instructions and do all that stuff like that, then you're going to have no problems. But it does take some time to put together that I'm not doing an Amazon review. I'm just kind of like giving you an idea of my experience building this thing out. The single tier was easy. That one was pretty easy, but this one here had a lot of different parts and stuff like that. They even have ones that have 5 rows. To me, I found this to be cost effective versus, you know, some of the other things out there. I don't have room for an IBC tote. I thought about the water bricks, which I may invest down the road. I do have an IBC tote stored somewhere that I'm not going to discuss here on the channel that I bought a couple of years ago. And I said, you know what? It's never been used for any chemicals and stuff like that. So maybe I'll store water in that. Because of course you also need water for non-potable water to do certain things like that. Hence there's really cool gadgets out there like the water bob that I've seen on other prepping channels before. And they're very affordable as well. Anyways, I just kind of wanted to go over some of that stuff with you folks, and I hope that some of this stuff will actually help some people out there in regards to water storage, water filters, water treatments, and stuff like that. All right, folks, so I hope that you got some sort of value out of this video, and maybe you're familiar with certain things, but not other things, and hopefully this will help some of you folks out there when it comes to your long-term water storage solutions, or, you know, in regards to water filtrations and things that you can buy, and the varied gambit of so many different options that you can use that are very reputable and can do the things that you need them to do in an emergency. As always, folks, if you get any value at all out of this video, it'd be greatly appreciated if you hit that thumbs up button, as well as if you're new here, take a chance and subscribe and check out the rest of the channel. If you know anyone that can benefit from a video like this and the information contained in this video, share it out to friends and family. Outside of that, folks, remember, you are not alone. This is GreyMan. I'm out. I'll see you guys in a rebound. God bless every one of you amazing people out there. And again, thank you for taking the time to watch this video.